Joining us now to analyze today's headlines is Robert Jensen. He is an author and a professor of journalism at the University of Texas at Austin. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Sonali.
The Israeli Air Force bombarded 4 areas in the besieged Gaza Strip with airstrikes earlier today, apparently in retaliation for rockets fired by the group Islamic Jihad into Israel. Israeli officials blamed Hamas for the rockets, inspiring fears within Gaza of yet another war, less than a year after Israel's devastating 2014 attack. Meanwhile, Amnesty International has just accused Hamas of committing serious crimes during that war last summer. The rights group claims that Hamas used the cover of the war to conduct summary executions to, quote, settle scores after accusing victims of collaborating with Israel. In the midst of all this, Israeli officials are celebrating the fact that the U.S. just blocked an expansion of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty that would have shone a light on Israel's nuclear weapons stockpile. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in person. Bob, does Israel seem to be recovering from its brief pariah status on the international stage, with increased focus on Hamas and the U.S. seemingly back in its court?
Right. You know, it's not really the international consensus that matters. It's the U.S. consensus. And we're seeing this play out again. For all the talk that Obama was holding Israel's feet to the fire, I think we're seeing how superficial that is. The Israelis are also talking about starting a peace negotiation with the Palestinians by dictating which settlements they're going to keep on the West Bank. I mean, this is business as usual. I think it shows that the superficial differences between administrations, Obama versus Bush, really don't matter. The United States is committed to Israel and its predominance in the Middle East, and I think we aren't going to see that change very much, unfortunately.
And 17 people are reportedly dead in Texas and Oklahoma over the Memorial Day weekend as severe storms hit the two states. Firefighters rescued hundreds of people who were trapped in their cars due to unexpected flooding. Houston, Texas alone received a foot of rain in a short time. Rick Flanagan, the emergency management coordinator for the city, said, quote, given the magnitude and how quickly it happened in such a short period of time, I've never seen this before. More than 1,000 homes have been destroyed and more than a dozen people are missing. Meanwhile, in India, an unprecedented heat wave is killing people and even melting roads. Temperatures of nearly 122 degrees Fahrenheit have led to 1,100 deaths across a number of states, in particular Andhra Pradesh. Elderly and homeless people, as well as those working outdoors in the construction industry, have been hit the hardest. Indians are waiting desperately for the annual monsoons to provide some relief. Bob, are poorer nations likely to see a greater impact from climate change?
Not likely to see, but are seeing. This has been documented and this process is ongoing. We had floods here in Austin, Texas, where I live, and as I walked and watched the creek rising, I had a very visceral reaction to what it means to live through so-called natural disasters in the relatively affluent first world, especially the more affluent sectors of the first world, where you're protected in so many ways. And of course, this is just one more place where the ecological and the social come together. The consequences of injustice in the human family play out in the way that we deal with these ecological crises, and that's going to continue and, in fact, intensify.
And finally, early this morning in Switzerland, authorities arrested at least 8 FIFA officials, sending shockwaves through the world of international sports. FIFA is the global governing organization for soccer and oversees the World Cup, the most popular sporting event in the world. The arrest took place as FIFA officials convened in Switzerland for their annual meeting and were conducted at the behest of the U.S. Department of Justice for accepting $150 million in bribes over more than 20 years. U.S. prosecutors are alleging that officials, quote, shut out competitors and keep highly lucrative contracts for themselves through the systematic payment of bribes and kickbacks. At stake are the processes by which FIFA awarded the 2018 and 2022 World Cup locations to Russia and Qatar. FIFA President Sepp Blatter was not among those arrested. The U.S. Attorney General is expected to hold a press conference today to explain more. Well, Bob, given what a huge corporate industry such sporting events like the World Cup have turned into, are you surprised that there may have been kickbacks?
Well, what a surprise here. What do we know about professional sports? We know they jack up the prices and disrespect consumers. So-called loyalty doesn't exist. We know that they exploit players, that they are unconcerned about safety. We see that with the concussions and the traumatic brain injuries. And we know now also that they engage in kickbacks and other kind of corporate crime. So what we know is that the business is what matters. Sports is a lovely thing, but it's the business of capitalism that, of course, is so corrosive. Thank God we still have amateur sports here at places like the University of Texas, where our football team is amateur. That was a joke. Okay, never mind.
Well, Bob Jensen, thank you so much as always for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Sonali.
My guest is Robert Jensen. He is our daily Newsflash guest expert. And by the way, just a quick reminder, if you are a TV viewer to Uprising, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/uprising with Sonali. We need to be able to continue to fund the TV operation of Uprising. Funds have actually run out. And we're not going to be able to do this for much longer unless we get many hundreds of you signing up for a very tiny amount of money, just $4.99 a month, to our YouTube channel to get exclusive access, fund drive free programming. We'll be right back.